Okay, let me start by sharing my screen. And I would like you all to indicate if you can see my clean screen properly. The classes has commenced. Good afternoon, everybody. Hope we're having a wonderful day. Last week we didn't have a class because I was out of town, and at my location I was indisposed. There was no free time for me. So we'll commence with the training today. In our previous class, we worked on media, how to add videos, audios, and including images to our project. That was our conclusion for the previous class. In today's class, we are going to begin working with source path. That is, how to link file of multiple pages together. That is our focus for this class. So, in the last class, we talked about media and we did a little bit of mapping. Some of us have submitted the assignment today, some submitted previously, and it has been marked. But for those of you who submitted your assignment today, I will go through them and I will give you a response. And some others are yet to conclude the assessment. Please, I would like you to be aware that the assessments are meant for us at Tron Cloud Technologies to be able to validate if our impact is getting through to you. So when you do our assessment, you are helping us help you out. So in today's class, we are going to be talking about media. Source path. Now, what do we call source path? Source path is as a reference of how we can link multiple files together. That's the job of source path. And there are two types of source path. We have what we call the absolute source path, and we also have what we call relative source path. Let's begin with the relative source path. The absolute source path, most of the time, you don't have control over them. Like when you're referring to an external website, is an example of an absolute source path. But relative source path works within a project confine. So this is what I would do. I will bring out my paint to achieve one or two things. Let's say we want to create a project. Excuse me. I'm using this square. And inside, I want to put a text. Let's call the project's name. Let's call it. Can somebody suggest a name for me? Okay. Let's call it Lawton. Let's consider this as the name of our project. Let me make use of my Microsoft Word to make it more easier. For me to walk through this navigation. So let me create a Word document. I no longer need it. So I'm taking it out of my display. So let me insert some text shape. And I'll be using this basic shape. At first, let me put my orientation to landscape, and under my insert I decided to put a shape. Now let me draw a simple rectangle, and inside of it I'll call it Lotto. This will be the name of my project, the one I'll be working on for today. So this will be the name of my project. Now let's consider some factors. Let's say I am creating a new project. Hope you all can hear me. Can you all hear me? Okay, that's good. Let's say I create a project folder and it is called Norton. Now inside this project folder I want to create subfolders and files. So I would simply just come here, let me duplicate this, Ctrl D. I don't know why my system is dragging. Let me draw another shape. So let's say this one will have a file called index.html. Let me position them properly. So to position. So So this is a file. Let me copy and paste. So let's say I have another file over here, and this file is called about.html. Now this is my project folder, so I would like the line that's surrounding the bounding box that's surrounding it, I would like it to be very thick. So, or I'll change the color as well. So to increase it, let's make it like 3 pixels. So it is thick because I want this to be a folder, and the ones that are light, I want it to be file. So immediately after this project, we have this index and about. So let's say we have another project, another folder inside of the same parent folder, the project folder. So I will copy and paste. So let's say we have another folder here. Copy and paste. Let's say we have another folder here. Now let's say the name of the file here. This one is called assets. And this one is called includes. I will expand it for clarity's sake. And I will expand this too. Now, underneath this asset, let's say we have the following. Copy and paste. Let's say we have this file. And the name of the file is style.css. And still underneath it, we have another file. Don't worry, I will put some cabling. And the file name is called faq.html. Now, under this include, I want to have two things: one file and one folder. So I will duplicate this to create a folder below here, and I will duplicate this to create a file below here. So let's say this one is called src, which simply means source, and this one is called service.html. Now in this source, I want to have another two files. Now the first file I'll be displaying will be an image under this source, and we have another one called contact.html. So let's say we have an image here titled, let us call it img1.jpg or jpg. Regardless, I'm still saying the same thing. And this one is titled contact. Now let me show you, let me put a tree, a connector to them, so you will know how connected they are. So under my shape, I will use a connector here. It's a line. This is connected to this. Another line. This is connected to this. Another line. This is also connected to this. Another line. This is also connected to this. I want to create multiple lines as well. This is connected here. This is connected here. This is connected here. And this is connected here. So let's see, elucidate. This is connected here. This is connected here. Now, hope we all can see these connections like a family tree. Any of this text, any of these boxes that is bold is in a representation of a folder. Anyone that is light is in a representation of a file. So let's create this project according to the diagram we have here and see how we can interconnect. You see this first one you're seeing here, it is considered as the root file or the the root folder or the project folder. This is the one to house every other files and folders that the project will be associated together with. So this is just like we creating a project and giving it a name. So I will start by creating this project called Lotto by coming here, going to File, Open Folder. When I click on Open Folder, I'll create new folder. Now in the open folder, this is where I want to store it. So I'll just give it a name. I'll call it Lotto. And I click on Select Folder. Now, this is the project folder that we want to work with. Next on our agenda is to create the files and folders inside it. So if you check something from the diagram, the direct descendant of this folder is these two files and these two folders. That is, inside this Norton folder, we have the asset folder, include file, and another asset folder. So let's start by creating the files first. If I come here, I can just click on plus to create a file. So let me call it index.html. I have created that file. I will create another one. I will call it about.html as well. Hold on, something is running. So you can see I have created that two file, meaning I've been able to achieve the creation of this file and this file. Next on our agenda is to create the folder. We have the asset folder and the includes folder. So I will come here. This first one is to create a file and the second one is to create a folder. So let's start by creating assets, which is this folder. Now let's do the includes. I can just click on an empty space. Now why am I clicking on an empty space? If I select this and I click anything here, because this is being selected, whatsoever I click here will be created inside of this folder. And that's not what I want. I want it to be outside the folder. So I have to come and click on an empty space. Then I click on this folder too. And I will say includes. Now we've created the asset folder. We've created the includes folder. Now, inside the asset folder, we have two files. The style.css and the faq.html. So if I come here, all I need to do is to first click on the asset folder and click on this. Then I can say style.css, which means you can see this line here is an indication that this file called style.css is created inside the asset folder because it was selected. So if I click on it again, can you see I've collapsed it? You can see it's no longer showing. Look at this arrow, follow this arrow. If I drop it out, it's showing it. If I click on it, it's closing it up. Okay, Santos, can I hear from you? Do you have a question? Santos, do you have a question?
Sorry, can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I can hear you.
So you made a mistake. The style.css is supposed to be in the includes, not assets. That's why I just went to go.
No, I'm going according to what I have here. What I have in the
Okay.
diagram here. I have assets. It is inside the assets I have the style.css. So I am following this diagram. It is not in the include. This is the
Okay,
include.
okay. My bad. Thank you, sir.
Is that clear?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome. Please let me name this properly. The S is small letter. So still under the assets, I have this FAQ.html. So if I come here, I click on the assets, I click on the file creation, we call it FAQ.html. So I have both inside the assets because I select it. If I didn't select it, it will be created outside. Now the next thing I want to do is to create this source folder and this service.html. Now if I decide to create the source folder first, which means if I click on this include and I click on create a folder and I say SRC, the folder will be created, but it won't show as an indication just like this drop down here, because it is only one folder. It will only show as a subset of it. Now if I still click on it and I click on a file for me to create that service of HTML, now sorry, I have to click include. If I click include it and I click create a file, now this file that I'm creating will be going directly into the SRC folder, and which is not what we want. It is going directly because what we created first was the folder, so it's created like it's shown as a subfolder. Look at it, the way it shows. It's not showing like a drop down like this one. So when you're creating a folder and you have to have a file and a folder in it, create the file first before the folder. That's the best practice. So to further more on this, all I need to do is to click on this include, create a file, and I'll call it service.html, which will create the service.html inside the SRC folder. And that's not where we want it. Because that is not where we want it, all I need to do is to just drag it and bring it to this include. Once I do that, it is no longer part of the SRC folder. Now I will click on the SRC and I will create my contact.html. So I will click plus, I will say contact.html. Lastly, we need an image. You can't create an image there. You can only copy an image into it. So I'll go to my source folder. I'll go to my source folder. I need an image I can make use of. Let me use this welcome to, although I will rename it. I will just copy this, drag it into the SRC. So I will rename it. I will rename it as IMG1 and save according to the diagram. According to this diagram. So we now have all of our source path working together. If I collapse this, collapse this, collapse this. Now, let's go over it again. We have the Norton folder. Inside the Norton folder, we have index about, include and assets. And according to the diagram, that is the order of arrangement. Then I will come here. If I come to the assets, we only have FAQ and style.css. I can collapse this. If I come to my include, we have our source and our service. And if I come to my source, I have my contact and image. So if I close this, everything is back to normal. So let's start by working with the first. First and foremost, I want to put a style here. By default, I want every H1 I'm going to create, I want the color to be red. Now, secondly, I want my A tag. All the A tag I'm going to create, I want the text decoration first to be none. I want my text transform to be uppercase. Lastly, I want the color I don't want a color. But I want when somebody over it, put their mouse over it, I want the color to become red, and I want the text decoration to be underlined. And this is everything. Now let me start with the index page, which is the first page. The index page. So I'll write my code. I'll start by writing this, and I'll call this home page. Then inside here I'll say h1 home page. Then at the top of it I'll put an A tag. We don't know what will be there, so let's say home. I'll put a pipe. About, service, contact, service, and FAQ. Then the next thing I will do is to come and say IMG, and here I will just say Jega, and I will say paragraph. Lauren, please guys, can you give me a minute? So all I need to do is to change all of this to about. I'll change this to contact. I'll say service, and I'll say FAQs. Now these are all the links that exist currently on it. So these are all of the links we are going to be having rather. And in the image source, we have not yet decided what image will be there. Then the next thing I want to do, is to link the source to it. So I will come here and say link. So if I copy all of this, I have written a whole bunch of codes here. So this is where I'm going to link the styling. The style that is needed will be linked here. The location of each page will be accessed through here. The image also will be linked here. You will be where I'll put, this is where I'll put the image. The image source will have to go through this other part here. The image source will have to go through here. So all of the links has to be here, and the next thing, the styling too, will have to be here. Now this is everything I want. Now all I need to do is to copy this code and paste it across all the pages that we've created. All I need to do is to say Control A, Control C. Control A means select all, Control C means copy. If I come here and I'll say Control V. In a similar way, I will come here, Control V. I will come here, Control V. I'll come here, Control V. Now, all of the pages that has been created now has the same source code. I will start by going back to the About Us page. From the About Us page, I will change the home to About. Change this home to About. I will go to the FAQ section, change the home to FAQS, and I'll change this also to FAQS. I'll go to the service page as well. I'll change this to service page. I will come here and change this also to service page. I will come here and change this to contact. I'll come here and change this to contact. I've created all of the things I want. Now there is no other page I want to work with. Everything has been selected. Can you see everything has been selected? Now the next thing I need to do is to either run my code by clicking on Start, or I go live. Now don't forget, my editor is on auto save. So which means if I click on Go Live, any changes I make will automatically have an effect. So let me click on Go Live. By clicking on Go Live, we have the page here. So let me put them side by side. I'll click here to put this here, and I'll put this other one here too. And this is what we call side by side. This is one page on the side. This is where I'm writing my code. This is where I'm displaying my code. Are we together? Before I proceed, do anybody have any question regarding what I've done so far? Anything that is confusing? Anything they would like me to shed more light on? Please. I would like to hear them now. I would like to hear them now. Any questions? Questions, guys. Questions. Mr. Matthew, question. Captain, question. Mr. Ifan, question. Mrs. Adiola, question. Anything regarding what I've done so far? Okay. In the absence of no question, let's now link them together. First and foremost, we need to understand the position of every element. Now, currently, let me use this diagram I have here. Currently, I am in the index page. Now, the question is, how can I link every other page of file, like your style sheet file, your FAQ page, your about us page, your service.html page, your contact.html page, and your image file? How can I link everything to the index? So currently I am in the index page. This is the index page. Let's first and foremost link index to itself. So in order for me to achieve that, all I need to do is to just say index.html, because I'm linking it to itself. So I just have to write the word exactly the way it is. Now, the next thing I want to link is the About Us page, which is beside it. This is the index page. How can I link this about to the index? All I need to do, because they are like siblings beside each other, all I need to do is to just come here and say about.html. The very minute I say about.html, it's an indication that I have linked the about us page to the index page. Now let's move further. Let's work with contacts. First, let's work with service before contact. Let's check it. This is service here. This is contact here. Now, we are currently working on the page called index.html. Now, the question is, how can I get the service page to be attached with the index? With our previous experience, you might want to just say service.html. By doing that, it will assume within this section that's under the Norton folder, there is a file that is directly beneath here, that's beside as a sibling to index, called service, which in reality does not exist. So if I do that, I won't be able to see this page. So what do I have to do? All I need to do is to first refer to the folder that is housing that file. For me, is the includes. So all I need to do is to come to the service page here and say includes / service.html. Meaning, in order for me to be able to access this service.html file, I need to first refer to the parent body housing it, which is a sibling to the index. For me, the parent body housing the, because this is more like a grandchild to Norton. That means index is like an uncle to it. Remember, we were talking about relative path. Index is like an uncle or like an auntie to service. So you can't refer to it directly. You have to first refer to the folder it houses before you refer to it. So I think I have a question. Okay, Mr. Captain Steve said, can you please use my site to explain this independency? Now, you see, the site https://stevejohnsonmaritime.com is actually an absolute URL. It's not relative, because it is an external file here. It is a third-party website. Let's say I want to create a project called norton.com. If I'm referring to Steve Johnson Maritime inside my Norton project, the Steve Johnson is an absolute path. So I can't be using include / no. That is what it's an example. Okay.
So ultimately, what we are trying to do is to create a web page, right? With all these
a project,
boxes.
not just a web page. Index is
A web page.
Index is a web page on its own. About is a web page on its own. FAQ is a web page on its own. Service is a web page on its own. Contact is a web page on its own. I'm only trying to link them together. Yeah, your question, sir.
Okay, so on my website, I have the about page, I have the service page,
Okay.
I have the contact page,
Okay.
I have the page where I have media and all of that. All right.
Okay.
I'm just trying to, like my question said, interdependencies. How, what you are trying to explain, how does that relate to a live website on a live server?
Okay. That's a beautiful question. Now, This is Steve Johnson's Maritime. That's your official website. You can see we have the home, we have the about me, you have the shop, you have the cards, you have the blog, you have service, and you have contact me. Now, each of these pages, each of this one I'm currently looking at, when I type stevejonsonmaritime.com, this one I'm currently looking at is the home page. If I click here, it will bring me here. It will bring me to the same page. But if I click on something like shop, for instance, now, I am no longer on the home page. I am now in a new route called shop. This is a new route called shop, which means during the creation of this website, they might have created a page, maybe index shop.html or shop.php or shop.gsx, depending on the type of framework or project scope it is using. So that file can be referred to separately. So in relation to this diagram now, they can be side by side or it can be in a separate folder. So what if it's in a, let's say this is how the project design is. This is the Steve Johnson Maritime as a folder. All of these are the files associated to it. So how can they be linked together is what I am explaining. Do you get it now?
Yeah, very well, understood.
So if I want to link all of them together, how can I do them if they are created separately? Is what I'm doing now. But like I created a project called Loton.com and I want to attach Steve Johnson's shop to my web page, for instance. This link will be referred to as an absolute path. The reason why it is absolute because it is an external link. The link is not attached within here. It is outside the scope. It is outside the scope. It is not attached within here. Do you get it? Captain Steve, do you get that, sir?
Yeah, I got you. But normally, I will be using for projects like this. I will be using a CRM, customer relations management. I'll be importing from the CRM.
When we get to React, you will see how CRM works. We'll be using it. Where we'll be creating multiple routes. But this current stage you are is the basis.
Okay.
So you need to understand how they are interconnected together. So that when you get there, if you have hundreds of files, how can you show their relationship? Is what I'm currently doing.
Excellent. Good work.
Thank you very much. So I can put it this way. Now the next one I want to link to is the FAQ. Let's do the FAQ now. Now if you look at the diagram, currently I'm still in the index page, the index.html. How can I link this FAQ to index? Unlike service that is in another folder called includes, this one is also in another folder called assets. So if I'm to refer to it here, I have to first say assets/FAQ because they are in a separate folder. Now let's connect the contact. Let's link the contact to it. In order for me to link the contact to it, now if you look at the contact is in another folder as well called contact.html. So how can I link this contact to this index? Now in order for us to do it, what is the relationship between contact and index. The relationship is like this contact is a great grandchild to index. So all you need to do is to first call the parent body, which is the sibling to index. For me, it is the includes. Then when I say include, I will say slash src. When I say src, I will say another slash. Then before I will be able to access my contact.html. So all I need to do is to come here and say includes slash src slash contacts.html. Now I've linked all the pages. How then can I link my image? Using the same pattern. Remember, the image is in the source folder and we want to link it to what? Index.html. All I need to do is to come here and say includes slash src slash img.jpg, and if I go to the page, can you see the image is showing? Let's collapse this to one side. Can you see the image is showing? Now lastly, let's link the styling. If I go to the diagram, this is the index page we are in. We want to link the style. The style is in the assets. So all you need to do is to come here and say assets slash style.css, and if I go back to my diagram here, I refresh. Can you see? Everything is linked. Are you getting it? Are we getting it? Do we get it? Please, if you get it, drop some thumbs up, drop some handshake, drop some claps, so it will show if you get it. Thank you. Yes, from Abaje's question, all of this linking that we are doing here, all the linking we are doing, all of this page, currently we have done the linking in index. Now let's do it in about. How can we do it in about.html? Now this will not be a class exercise. Let me go to the about us page, which for me is here. Let me make it broad. Let me close this. This is my about us page. I will start by calling one person, and when I call you, all you need to do is to mute yourself and tell me how can I do the linking. Then I'll move to the next person. I'll move to the next person. So let me start with Ifine. Mr. Ifine, I would like you to unmute yourself or use the group in-call message. How can I link? I'm currently in the About Us page now. Let me show you the diagram. With the idea of what I just did, how can I link index to About? You can type your answer in the in-call message, or you unmute yourself to speak. How can I link index to about.html? Please, I would like to hear it. Please, I would like to hear it. Okay, you can unmute yourself. If you can't unmute yourself, just put the answer in the comment. I'm waiting for your response, please. We have a lot to do today. We have a lot to do today. So we're in the About Us page. How can I link index here? How can I put the code for index here? What should I type? Okay, let me make it a general question first. Who can tell us what to do? Everybody. Can somebody tell us what to do using the idea of what I just taught us? If you have an idea, let me show you the diagram again. Everybody. Give me answers. You can unmute yourself. Now we're now in a practical class. Everybody, you look at the diagram. There's nothing called home.html. We only have index.html, about.html, style.css, faq.html, service.html, image1.jpg, contact.html. So the question is, what am I to write in this? What will I write in this section? This is the diagram. I'm in the about. How can I link the index to about? Answers. Correct. So come to the about link, the index.html. Correct. So all I need to do is to come here and type the word index.html. And the reason is because they are like siblings. They are just beside each other. Okay. How can I link about us, about to itself? How can I link about to itself? Anybody? Abaje, you did well. Let me send you some claps. Some flowers too. You don't have to write the code to about us. We just about the.
No, that's for the first one. Is that correct? The first question you asked.
No, it's not correct for the first one. It's correct for the second one. It's correct for the one I just write now, but it's.
Oh, okay. Maybe I didn't hear you well.
Okay, it's correct for the second one here now. Meaning, here that I wrote about. For me to link about to itself, I just have to say about.html.
Okay.
That's correct. Now let's go to contact. Captain Steve, that's nice. Captain Steve, that's very nice. How can I link service? Let's do service first before we do contact. How can I link service to about? How can I link service to about? Look at the diagram. I'm waiting for response. How can I link?
So you are in about page.
Yes. We are currently working in the about page. If I go to my code, you can see this is the about page. That's where we are writing our code.
I mean,
so how do I link service? Let's start with service first. How do I link service to about page? Anybody? Just tell us, what are we to write in the href? What are we to write in the href? Let's start with that. Correct. Abiola, you got it. Miss Abiola, you got it. That's wonderful. All you need to do is to say, because of the diagram, you have to refer to your sibling first, which is includes. So you say include/service.html. So I'll say include/service.html. How then can I refer to contacts? How can I refer to contacts? Can somebody help us? How can I refer to contacts? We're now in an interactive section. How can I refer to contact? Now, don't forget, we are currently working in the About Us page. So what we want to link is the contact. How can we link the contact to about.html? Okay, I'm waiting for a response. I'm waiting for a response. Just type in the href destination, the value of the href attribute. Just type that. Don't write it in full to save us time constraint. Wrong. That's wrong. Please check again. That's wrong. Look at the diagram properly. Look at my screen. You will see the diagram properly. The answer there is wrong. Look at the diagram again. I'm waiting for response. Ifeanyi, that's correct. But it is not SCR, it is SRC. You're correct. The answer is SRC, not SCR. But your answer is correct. If I got that correctly. So you have to first say includes. Excuse me. Slash SRC slash contact.html. Now, how do we do the FAQ? How can we do the FAQ? Remember, we're in the About Us page. How do we link the FAQ to About Us page? How do we link that? Let's see some magic. If I got that one correctly, just that instead of SRC, you said SCR. That's the error. Look at the diagram. Don't forget we are working in the about.html. How can we link the FAQ to about.html? I'm waiting for answers. I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting. Asset, your asset has 3S. You're correct. If I got it right, it is actually assets. ASSETS. Not ASSSET and not ASSET. It is ASSETS. Correct. Both of you got it, just that your spellings are wrong, but you got the path. Meaning I have to say assets slash FAQ.html. Now the next thing, how do we link the image? How do we link the image? How do we link the image? My students are cooking. Don't forget we're in the about.html. How do we link the image 1.jpg to about? Other people in the call, I'm waiting for your response. Everybody. Fastest finger, fastest finger. Don't worry, in our next class assessment, I'll be giving out airtime for the fastest finger. That's who gets it correctly, but let's try this first. How do I link the image? Can somebody tell me how to link the image? I'm waiting for response. I'm waiting for response. Don't forget, we have limited time today. I'm waiting for response. Okay. FAQ, image. Okay, the FAQ you did was correct. However, the image has some issue. Now, don't forget that we're in the About Us page. Look at my diagram again. What we want to link is the img1.jpg, which is down here. So how can I link this to this? We are currently working here. That's the question. So how can I link this to this? You don't need to just give me the source link. No need to give me the entire code so that it will save us time. Include if I am to correct you again, it will be much. You are correct, but look at your code. Look at the destination you gave. There are some errors. Correct those errors. We don't have anything called include. We have includes. We don't have anything called SCR. We have SRC. We don't have anything called image, IMG. We have what we call IMG1. So all of your namings are wrong, but your path is correct. Yes, that's the right one from Abeje rather. So I just have to come here and say includes /src /image.jpg. This is the correct one. This is the correct one. Now let's link the styling. Let's link the styling. Let me go back to the diagram. Can somebody link the styling? Look at the diagram. Link the styling. I'm waiting for answer. Okay, the question is, how can I link the style to the about.html? How can we make the style be usable in the about.html? That's the question. Correct. Abiola got it correctly. Abiola got it correctly. So I have to say assets/style.css. This is correct. So if I go to the page now, I go to the About Us, you can see everything is working. The image is showing. We are currently in the About Us page. The home is working, the About Us is working, both of them is working perfectly. Now let's go to the contact page. Sorry, let's go to the service page first. You know what? Let me do the contact page so that it will be easier. Let's go to the contact page. Now in the contact page, the question is, how can I link? Let's go to the contact page. How can I link everything together? Now let's look at the diagram first. This is the contact page. The first page we need to link to the contact page is the index. So how can I make this index visible here in the contact? How can I make this visible in the contact? So if you look at the path, it is kind of not going down, we are going up. Now if you are going up, there is this code called ../. There's another one called dot slash. There's another one called dot slash. Let me take an example. You see this index page. In this index page, we have a file called index.html. If you look at it, according to the diagram, if you want to refer to yourself or to your sibling, I can simply just come here. Instead of saying just index itself, I can say dot slash. If I say dot slash, it's still the same thing as me just saying index.html, because I'm referring to a file that is inside the same folder. In the same way, I can come here and say dot slash as well, because both of them are together. You know, I'm in the index here. I am referring to this one here. I can just say dot slash, or I don't put anything. So if I put something or I don't put anything, it will still work perfectly, because they are both on the same folder route. They are beside, they are like siblings. But when a grandchild or a great grandchild is trying to refer, because currently now we're in the contacts, how can we link this index to the contact is what we want to do. In order for us to do that, we need to do what we call dot slash. Now when I say dot slash, I am instructing my direction that leave my current file where I am, go up one step to my parent source, meaning dot slash would bring me here to where we have the source and the service. After that, I will say another dot slash again. That will take me away from my parent and take me to the grandparent source. Then I can now refer to the index.html, which means if I'm in the contacts now and I want to refer to the home, I have to first say dot slash. Now this dot slash that I said at the first stage will take me away from here and bring me to my source. That means I have access to src and service.html. But that's not my destination. My destination is index. So I have to put again another dot slash. That means the dot slash is twice, because I want to leave here as well and come to this side. Then when I get here, I can now say index.html. When I say index.html, I will leave it that way. Now I have been able to create in my contact page access to my home page. If I go back, I've been able to create it. So if I want to refer to my about, I will use the same strategy. If you notice the diagram, the about is also like a great grandparent, a grandparent to it. So I have to first say dot slash to bring me here, another dot slash to bring me here, in order for me to be able to access it. So I'll say dot slash again, then I will say about.html. Now let me push this as a question to all of you. How can I refer to contact itself? How can I refer to the contact itself? Who can tell us? How can I refer to the contact itself? We are in contact. How can I refer to the contact itself? Who can tell us? I wait your answers. Correct. That's correct. Because it is referring to itself, I can just say what? Contact.html. Now, can somebody else give me what other option can I use if I don't want to use contact.html? What other option can I use again? What other option can I use? There are other options I can also use. Can somebody tell us what other option exists? other options, please? Yes, that's an example. But the answer you gave, Captain, is the same with what if I gave. The answer you gave is similar to what if I gave. The answer you gave is similar to what if I gave. I need a fresh perspective. All I need to do is to say dot slash contact.html. I can also use the dot slash. So that's the answer. So it's either I use dot slash or I just say contact.html. It will still work. Now, can somebody help us link to service? Can somebody help us link to service? Look at the diagram. We are in the contact page. How can I link the service in the contact page? How can I link to the service in the contact page? How can I link to the service in the contact page? You don't know, no. Both of you are not right. Your answers are not right. Remember, I'm in contact. I want to link this service to contact. The two answers are wrong. The two answers are wrong. I'm linking service, not include. There's no file called include.html. There's no file called include.html. The answers are wrong. I'm waiting for response. Both answers are wrong as well. Because if you follow your answers where you say dot dot slash include slash service dot html, this is it. When you say dot dot slash, it will bring you here. Now in this section here, there's nothing called includes, so it won't work. There's nothing called include. So all I need to do, let me give you the answer, is to say dot dot slash service.html. That's the answer. All I need to do is to come here and say dot dot slash service.html, and I'm good to go. Now how do I link to the FAQ? This is the FAQ at this end. How do I link the contact to the FAQ? I wait for answers. How do I link the contact to the FAQ? How do I link contact to the FAQ?
You are in contact, right?
Yes, we're in contact. How do I make the FAQ link inside contact? Look at the diagram. I'm in contact now. That's wrong. Fine, that's wrong. Wrong. You're wrong as well. But Abiola, the answer is wrong. If I said dot dot slash faq.html, that's wrong. Abiola said dot dot slash faq, that's also wrong. Look at the diagram. Wrong. That's also wrong. Okay, the answer is, because I'm here, I have to say dot dot slash. It will bring me here. When it brings me here, I will say dot dot slash again. It will not bring me to this level. Then I will not say assets slash faq.html. Meaning the answer is
That's what I wrote now.
you didn't write, you didn't send it to, you didn't send your
No, see, it's
okay,
there.
I've seen it, but it's your own is just one dot dot. The dot dot has to be two. Dot dot slash.
It's two now.
No. Dot dot slash twice.
Dot slash is two dots there.
No, yours is just dot dot slash once. It should be dot dot slash
Okay.
dot dot slash.
Okay.
So
Okay.
asset slash FAQ. But you're getting there. You're getting there. Now that's because it is a grandchild. So you have to say dot dot slash. It brings you here. Dot dot slash again. It will not bring you here. Before you now say asset FAQ. How do we link the image? How do we link the image? Let's look at the diagram of the image. We are in contact. How do we link this image to contact? Take a look at the diagram. Wrong. That answer is wrong. No, that one too is wrong. The two answers are wrong. Wrong. Look at the image. They are beside each other now. Contact and image are beside each other. Look at it again. If there's no .html at the back now. If I got it, but there's no .html at the back. So the answer is just because they are beside each other, you just have to say image.jpg. That's all. Yeah, somebody should link the styling. So this is the diagram. I'm in contact. How do we link the style to the contact? Brainstorm. Brainstorm. No, that's wrong. That's wrong. Abiola, there is no file called assets.html. It is a folder. It is not called assets.html. You got it, but there is no .html as the asset. So she got it. It is dot slash assets slash style.css. So it will be dot slash assets slash style.css. So if I go back to the design now, this is it. I refresh. And everything. Oh. Now, the next thing we want to work with is the service page, which I'll be giving you guys as an assignment. And apart from this assignment, I'm going to send another one. You guys will be doing 2 mapping. You guys will be doing 2 of it. So this one will be given as an assignment. Another additional one will be sent to you as an assignment. Do anybody have any question they would like to ask? Anybody with any question? Captain Steve, any question?
None for now.
Okay. Please, you can reach out to me if you have any issue. With no further ado, I would like to call today a day, and I will see you all in the next class. Thank you and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
Why not ask the question in the class? I asked any question, you should have given me sign since you're here. You will just wrote, yes, there's a question. So what's the question? It is a file that is inside the folder.
So that assets include their folder or their file.
Those ones that are bold are folders.
Are folders.
The ones that are light.
Their file.
Folders does not have extension. Anyone that does not have dot something is a file.
File.
Anyone that does not have dot something is a folder. But the one that have dot something is a file.
Okay, it's a file that's inside the folder.
You always put file inside a folder.
That question I just